Stan Gibilisco here, proprietor and operator of amateur radio station W1GV. Whiskey 1 Good Vibrations. I'd like to mention something that's a kind of a counterpart to the trans-equatorial propagation video that I recently did, and that is over the pole propagation. And that is much more interesting than trans-equatorial propagation because it can take place on the upper HF bands, that is those generally above 10 megahertz, as well as those generally below 10 megahertz. When it is light over the pole, that is mainly during the northern hemisphere summer, it would be light all day long over the North Pole, and during the summer in the southern hemisphere, light all day long over the South Pole, and vice versa. In the winter time in the North hemisphere, it will be dark all the time over the North Pole, and in the winter in the southern hemisphere, it will be dark all the time over the South Pole. And we are approaching winter, need I be reminded, in the northern hemisphere. My forecast for the winter here in the black holes is average. Remember, I'm wrong 70% of the time in my weather forecasts. Keep that in mind. But nevertheless, I'm particularly looking forward to wintertime in the northern hemisphere because it will be dark 24 hours a day over the pole. Now we can have factors such as aurora and other solar disturbances. Propagation can be disrupted by those things, but they just make it more interesting, and you can read all about these types of propagation, auroral propagation, and ionospheric F layer, that's Frank, F2 layer propagation over the pole. On the lower HF bands, that's 160, 80, and to some extent, sometimes 40 meters. Whenever it's dark where you are, and whenever it's dark where your destination QTH is, you can communicate over the pole in the winter in the northern hemisphere, if both locations are more or less in the northern hemisphere. Well, if both locations are anywhere on Earth, for that matter. You can even go 3/4 of the way around the globe. But the fun of it is, the tragedy of it is, this is not a QTH where I live for that kind of activity. The good part is, the Stargazer Ranch in Meeteetse, Wyoming is a good location for such activity with kite-supported and balloon-supported antennas on 160 meters. If I can get over my little illness, maybe I'll be able to get out there this winter and check it out. Winter in Wyoming, the ideal vacation for those who don't like to be bothered by a lot of people. And there won't be a lot of people to bother me on 160 meters, except, of course, for the DX. Stan Gibilisco signing off, saying 73, which means best regards in ham radio jargon, and so long, which, in my native 160 meter fist, shall forever after translate to da-da-da-da-da-da.